Hey students, in this second chapter, some grammar portion has been pending. We are going to deal with them today. And today I am also going to teach you the next poem, that is the second poem, geography lesson. Okay students, let's come across the working with language part of the second chapter, the tsunami. So here some concepts of grammar has been introduced. So let's go through the first one. What you need to do here is you need to read the part 1 carefully. And here the first activity is about making a list of words. The words which indicate fast movement, slow movement, and the words which are neither slow or fast. So these words you need to pick them out from the part 1 of this chapter. So you need to read the chapter part 1 and you need to make 3 columns. In the 3 columns you need to classify them. The words you have found, you need to classify them into the words with fast movement, the words with slow movement, and the words with neither slow or fast. Let's go through the second activity given here. Fill in the blanks in the sentences below. The verbs given in brackets will give you a clue. So this kind of activity you might have done in earlier classes. Here you can see tremble. So you need to modify this word tremble into an appropriate form so that you could fill this blank. So let's go through the first statement here. The earth trembled, but not many people felt the dash. The correct answer what we need to fill here in the blank is trembling. So what we have done here is we have converted the verb tremble into a noun. As a result, tremble becomes trembling. So the statement becomes the earth trembled, but not many people felt the trembling. Next, let's go through the second statement. When the zoo was flooded, there was a lot of dash and many animals escaped into the countryside. Here the word given is confuse. So you need to convert this word into a noun. So I think the answer is confusion. When the zoo was flooded, there was a lot of confusion and many animals escaped into the countryside. Similarly, we need to go through these 3 different statements and fill in the blanks by giving the hint inside the bracket. We heard with dash that the lion had been recaptured. Here, the word relief, I think we heard with relief that the lion had been recaptured. Next, statement number 4. The zookeeper was stuck in a tree and his dash was filmed by the TV crew. We don't need to change the word rescue. We need to keep it as it is and fill in the blank. So the answer becomes the zookeeper was stuck in a tree and his rescue was filmed by the TV crew. Next, let's move on to the 5th statement given here. There was much dash in the village when the snake charmer came visiting. So here a snake charmer came visiting and I believe the word excite can be changed into excitement. The statement would be there was much excitement in the village when the snake charmer came visiting. So this is the second activity we have completed now. Now let's move on to the third activity given here. Study the sentences in the columns A and B. So 2 columns have been given. In column A, they have given some statements. Meghana was swept away. Let's come across the column B. The waves swept Meghana away. These statements have been put in these 2 columns, where the statements given in column B are in active voice and the statements given in column A are in passive voice. So let's go through the theory behind this active voice and passive voice. Compare the sentences in column A to the ones in column B. Who is the doer of the action in every case? Is the doer mentioned in A or in B? When we read these columns, we notice that the verbs in A, was swept away, was hit, were washed away, were found, they are in the passive form. The sentences are in the passive voice. In these sentences, the focus is not on the person who does the action, but the focus has been given on the work which has been done by the doer. Now, in column B, the doer of the action has been named. The verbs are in the active form and the sentences are in the active voice. So let's go through the given statements again here. So the waves swept Meghna away. In this statement, the waves are the doer which does the job. On which object the work has been done? That is Meghna. So Meghna is considered as an object and the waves have been considered as the subject. So the subject has done work on the object here. So what was the work being done? The work of sweeping. So here the statement, the waves swept Meghna away, is in active voice, whereas the statement, Meghna was swept away, is in passive voice. Here they haven't mentioned the name of the doer. Means only the name of the object has been mentioned here. That is Meghna. She was being swept away. But who swept her? That information has not been given here. So it is in the passive form. So based on this theory, what you need to do here is, you need to characterize the given statements here into either they are in active voice or in the passive voice. So let's go through this activity. Say whether the following sentences are in the active or the passive voice. You need to fill in these blanks using A or P. A means it is the denotation for active voice and P means it is the denotation for passive voice. So let's go through these statements one by one. First statement, someone stole my bicycle. So as a help, they have already given it as A. The answer is already given here. So it is in the active form, active voice. The next, second statement, the tires were deflated by the traffic police. So one thing what you can see here is that the work has been done already. The tires were deflated by the police. And it is in the passive form. So what you need to do here is, you need to write down or fill the blank with P. Next, third statement, I found it last night in the ditch near my house. This sentence is in the active voice. So write down here A. Next, statement number 4. Here in statement number 4, they haven't mentioned who thrown it here. The work has been done, but they haven't mentioned who has done the work of throwing. So I believe this statement is in passive form. So you need to fill this blank with P. Next, let's go through the fifth statement given here. My father gave it to the mechanic. So it is definitely in the active form, active voice. So fill in this blank with A. Next, sixth statement, the mechanic repaired it for me. Here also, the statement has been given in active form. So fill the blank with A. We are going to skip this speaking and writing activity and we are going to do this in the classrooms. Now let's move on and start the second poem, that is the geography lesson.
So students, this poem has been written by Mr. Zulfikar Ghosh. In this poem, the poet imagines himself to be sitting in a jet plane and the plane or a rocket is going out of the Earth's atmosphere. So basically you can get some concept or a rough idea why the title of this poem has been given as Geography Lesson. So let's proceed with the introduction here. Can you imagine what your city would look like if you saw it from 10,000 feet above the ground? Neatly planned and perfect in proportion, like a geometric design. It would strike you as something very different from what it actually is while you are in the thick of it. So when you go to a certain height, you will come to know if your city has been built according to a plan or it has been built simply. Here is a poet's description of just such a view of the city and some questions that come to his mind. So students, let's proceed with the poem here, the geography lesson. So the poem goes like this. When the jet sprang into the sky, it was clear why the city had developed the way it had. Seeing it scaled 6 inches to the mile, there seemed an inevitability about what on ground had looked haphazard, unplanned and without style when the jet sprang into the sky. The poet Zulfikar says here that when he reaches that certain height, he is able to see a distance of 1 mile as if it is only 6 inches. And when he was on the ground, everything around him looked haphazard. Haphazard means something that is not constant or unplanned. So the poet tells here that when he reaches certain height, he learns why the city has been built this way, what was the purpose behind it. So when he was on ground, everything was messy around him. But when he reached certain height, he understood that why the city has been built this way, why the houses are closer to each other or far from each other and other things. Next, second paragraph. When the jet reached 10,000 feet, it was clear why the country had cities where the rivers ran and why the valleys were populated. The logic of geography, that land and water attracted man, was clearly delineated when the jet reached 10,000 feet. Here the poet is telling that the jet, when it went to a height of 10,000 feet, he was able to see inside a particular country there were cities, there were forests. Some regions contained more population and some were containing no population at all. But one particular point what he observed there from the height of 10,000 feet is that the cities were being constructed nearer to two main things. One is the land and second one is the water. These two things are the main what attracts people towards them, because you are going to need these two things necessarily, that is, one is the land and second one is water. So this is what he call the logic of geography, that is, around the land and water, wherever there are rivers, wherever there are ponds, wherever there are fields. So these things will be helpful for the man to irrigation, for running the activities of agriculture and other things. Next, let's move on to the third paragraph. When the jet rose 6 miles high, it was clear that the earth was round and that it had more sea than land. You all students might be familiar with earth or the structure of earth. It is quite clear that 21% of the earth has land and 79% of the earth's surface is covered with water. So this simple thing what Zulfikar would like to say here, that when he reached 6 miles high while sitting in the jet, he was able to see that it had more sea than land. He also tells here, but it was difficult to understand that the men on the earth found causes to hate each other, to build walls across cities and to kill. From that height, it was not clear why. At first two paragraphs, Zulfikar Ghosh is telling that everything seems very beautiful on the surface of earth. Earth has population, earth has people who work on the land and they want water to survive. They are very lovely people, they are very friendly with each other, they have their own societies, but somehow the people, the men, find reasons to hate each other, and as a result they build walls across the cities, and they also find reasons to kill themselves, to kill each other. So from this height, the poet is unable to understand why these things are happening between human beings. Why are they killing each other in spite of having such beautiful nature along with them? With this, the poem Geography lesson ends. Nothing much is there, it's a very small poem. Here there are some words given, that is the glossary, and also they have given some exercise questions here. The answers I am going to provide in a while. So you need to write the answers for these exercise questions working with the poem in your notes. So here I am going to end the session. Thank you.